field. Coco! Ball game! Western Division! The Oakland A's have shocked the Rangers and the baseball world, and they are the AL Western Division Championship. Unbelievable!
And sometimes even the thrill of Steve's victories.
From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
And the agony of Steve's defeats.
Legs together as Buster landing these. Oh, nice uppercut by Buster Douglas. Look at this. He knocked Mike Tyson down for the first time in his career. Mike Tyson hits the canvas. He's in big trouble. He may not be able to recover. It's up to 7 and 8. He's not going to make it. Unbelievable. 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 Buster Douglas is the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com. And now the Rad Network presents the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Welcome in. You can email us, ras@theradnetwork.com. All ready to go. We had big-time rumors in the NFL and some movings and some signings and stuff. Lots in baseball. We're post-All-Star game a week and a few days from the deadline. Plenty to talk about there. I even had to change my outfit to start today's show when the breaking news arrived. And actually, I already had this story, which now is even more, takes on a totally different take. This morning, everybody was talking about the fact that ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter just signed a new contract, best in the business, actually revealed he had some LeBron James free agency intel. I mean, Schefter's a football guy, but he's Schefter. He knows people. He heard something. So this morning, everybody was talking about that he heard LeBron James was going to the Miami Heat. He heard it would happen as early as June 30th. We're at July 24th. He was sticking by it this morning. He heard it from a source in Miami about LeBron returning there. Well, got to give that some, well, never mind. We got the news an hour, 15 minutes ago. Wait, 2 hours, 15 minutes ago. LeBron James, after saying he seriously considered retirement, is doing the very first thing that Steve Mickelson said he would and should do. I don't know if he said would, should. After he told the Lakers to pound sand, he has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, entering a record-breaking 24th season, and he calls it, his words, his last decision. LeBron at 41 has a 2-year deal, $8 million contract with a player option. In a series of posts on X, Twitter, James addressed his decision-making, writing that he initially thought he was done playing. Quote, "This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What am I really playing for at this point? I want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship." So the outfit change was I had to make sure I put on my Jordan sweatshirt to remind everybody this is the GOAT. This is the greatest of all time. This is where the conversation begins and ends, and whether or not LeBron has a place in it is to be debated at another time. He went on to say, quote, "I believe I can help make Philadelphia a championship again, and I am so excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time." We'll start there. Steve, you have been advocating for this. Is he right? Has he set himself up to bring another championship to a long-suffering city? You've been liking where the 76ers are going.
I like the Sixers team. I love the fact that I just see chaos here with too many people who want to control the ball, own, the offense. And I'm curious to see how that plays out. I think this is arguably the best team that LeBron James has ever been a part of. And is he going to be able to just go along kind of for the ride? How is Joel Embiid going to deal with this? Jaylen Brown, who's used to being the alpha and running that Celtics with, Tatum, and there became some friction there. And you don't know if it was friction because they both felt they were the leader or what fully happen. Jalen Brown knows how to play in that system, just don't know if he's comfortable with it. And Tyrese Maxey has become the alpha. He's the one who led the Sixers last year. He's their number one option. He's the point guard, bringing the ball up. Everything goes through him. Just curious to see how this lays out. I mean, they bring in Dean Wade, and he's a power forward, another big coming off the bench, which was a good signing. Their number one draft pick, Phylon Jr., is supposed to be a star guard in the making that can help, behind Edgecombe, Maxey. They also, Anthony Simons is sitting there. They brought him in as another shooting guard. I like the team. I think they're really deep. I think they're really talented. I'm curious to know. This team needs like 3 or 4 basketballs to keep everybody happy. I'm just not sure how one's going to do it. The advantage, though, also for Embiid, look, you don't have to carry it. You don't have to. He's had his injury problems over the last several years. They just need him healthy for the playoff time. And if and when he needs some rest, give him some rest. Maybe you only go to playing him 28 minutes a game. But will he be able to deal with that? And LeBron, is he going to check his ego somewhat at the door in order to win another championship?
So let's go through a few of those, starting with the last one. LeBron, some would argue he already showed he can do that with the Lakers. He showed. So again, people are arguing that he can move into that third spot behind, at the time, Luca and Austin Reeves. And so the argument would be LeBron has shown his ego is pliable, it's flexible, and so he's the one that will most likely at least walk in and go, guys, let's work this out. I hear you schnaufing at me as I make this case as though there's no credibility to it.
I do. I don't think there is any credibility to it.
Okay.
The media tried to portray that with LA. We all knew he wasn't happy being the third option. You could see that on his face, his demeanor, everything about it. And yes, we knew it was Luca's team. But in a sense, I mean, I'm not saying he went in the corner and pouted and said, I'm taking my ball home and I'm not going to play with you. But he didn't accept it. He was not comfortable in it, and it showed. So maybe he's grown, and maybe it's that look. I understand it now and I accept it, but I don't believe he did in any way. I think it came playoff time and he was happy to be the one out front there. He may have enjoyed the time that Luca and Reeves were out because he could be the number one dog again.
So you mentioned all those other names. Shams is actually on ESPN right now. Everybody being healthy, projected starting lineup for the 76ers. Your 3 guards would be Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown. James would play forward, Embiid would play center. Again, that's projected. Everybody's healthy. Within that mix, I mean, that's a powerful starting lineup. As you said, you've got all the bench talent, might be the most talented thing. You sound most worried about Maxey with Brown second in terms of can they adjust? Because Embiid, like you said, there's some positives here. In fact, Embiid and LeBron both kind of are supposed to, the sales pitch, be in a similar position. You ain't got to do this. You got to contribute. You got to participate. You got to be part of it. You got to lead. But it's okay if you're not the guy, because, hey, we got Jalen and we got Tyrese, but you seem like maybe Maxey and Brown are the ones going, excuse me, what about us?
Yeah, you look at it, and I don't have, Maxey averaged like 28 points a game. Jalen Brown, what wasn't he like 28 points a game, somewhere in there? That's a lot of points. That's a lot of shots. Okay, now Joel Embiid, he didn't play that much last year. What did he play? He played 38 games. So now you're going to mix him in there. Do you really think he's going to be content and going, look, I'm going to get 14, 15 points. I'm going to get 10, 12 rebounds. I'm going to be more like a Jarrett Allen with the Cavs? Or is it that I'm a star? I'm unstoppable in this league when I'm healthy. I can dominate anyone. I don't know where that's going to go. And LeBron, is LeBron going to be happy with like 12, 14 points a game? Or is he going to need to get his 20? Because if they just go off their points, and like I said, you go 28 with Maxey, you go 28 with Embiid, you're going to go what? 20. Oh, I'm sorry, 28 with Jalen Brown, you're going to go 20 22 with LeBron, Joel Embiid when he's playing. I mean, this guy averages like 27 points. They're going to score 150 a game. It'd be cool to watch, but I don't think it's sustainable. And I don't think there's enough basketball. And VJ Edcombe, as a rookie, showed, look, I belong in this league. I can play in this league. I was one of the top rookies to come out last year. And, he averaged 16 points a game, and he's only looking to elevate his game from there. And that's where I say I see the cat. I love the team. I love where they're going to go. Future odds dropped from approximately 20-1 down to about 8-1 off of this signing. I think the Sixers are the favorite in the East. And half of me wants to see them meet their potential and just be that team that, look, we hit March, April, and we're going, this is the best team in the NBA. Because I think talent wise, I think they really can be the best team in the NBA. Or are we going to be going in March going, man, this was a train wreck, and look who's still here, who's been shipped out, where they're at. Maybe they were fortunate to have an injury or two, because then it allowed the rest of the team enough playing time to keep them happy. I'm fascinated at where and all the different possibilities of where the Sixers team can go.
Jaylen Brown averaged 28.7 points this year. Tyrese Maxey, 28.3. You answered, I think, one of my questions there. Most of what I saw within the first 15 minutes was that the 76ers odds of winning the championship in particular doubled or were cut in half, however you want to look at it. I was trying to speak mainstream this morning on the other show. But they still, depending on who you look at, because everybody's kind of putting stuff together. I don't know if you've put anything together, but I know that BetMGM, they don't have the Sixers as the favorite to win the East, because that was the question I was going to ask you. They've got the Knicks still, and some people are saying that this deal is similar to what you see, particularly in basketball, but you see it in baseball a lot as well. The Sixers said, we need to be able to beat the Knicks. They embarrassed us in the playoffs. We care about the Knicks in the playoffs. We're gonna get there with this group. This is a team that can beat the Knicks. So that my first question was, and BetMGM says no, they won't win the East. Sounds like you say they're the favorite to win the East. Are they now built? Are the Sixers built to beat the Knicks if they get into the playoffs? Because that would be top of the list goal, say some.
I do think the Sixers should be favored over the Knicks. My question is are the Sixers now, and OKC is right there. I mean, I view OKC as the best team in the NBA going into this. They had to trade some of their depth away to remain off of that second apron. And if this team gels and plays to the potential and plays as a team, not for their individual stats, I think this is the best team in the NBA.
Now, that would be like, say, potentially a power ranking. And now you need time to look at yours. I understand that. But the initial power rankings, as they're falling right now, have the Thunder and Spurs tied at number one. And they're matching right now the odds as well, most places, then Knicks, then the Sixers for power rankings going into the season. Then you go to Celtics, Nuggets, Cavs, those kind of things. Sounds to me like you think everybody's still low. They're still catching up, which isn't surprising if that's what you think, because it took them 4 days to even say what you were saying. Hey, he should go to the Sixers. Everybody's behind. They're all trying to figure out what you and your Rain Man-like mind are already seeing. But power rankings, when you hear them, I'm not suggesting you know what yours are right now. Thunder and Spurs number one in the NBA, then the Knicks, then the Sixers. You don't sound like you love that.
Yeah, I think those are the four best teams. I don't know if I would be in that same order at this time. And again, as I've said from the get-go, I love the signing, but I think it just creates the potential for entire chaos if they cannot play together. And I think it's a 50-50 shot at which way this team really goes. If they can't play together, then no, they're not going to be there. And you're going to sit and go, yeah, you know what? They have the talent, but they don't have the chemistry. And there's too many alphas on this team. But if they can swallow that ego and say, our goal this year is to win a championship. After this year, let's go make our money wherever we want and however it goes. And who knows, they might play together and say, I love this. It's about winning championships. And let's just look, they all know what kind of players we are, but we can dominate. I think it has that potential too.
A lot of people, fill in a couple things here. A lot of people are focusing on, haha, told you. When LeBron said trust the process, he told us he was going to the Sixers. Fine, good for you. Windhorst was just on ESPN. I had the closed captions on just to check, and I did notice he is focusing on the egos as well. His one comment, his one concern, it's almost like you wrote what he said, was can all these egos fit in the same place? So you agreed with the top 4 there that I gave you for the initial power rankings with the LeBron to Sixers deal, of being OKC, the Spurs, the Knicks, and the Sixers, maybe not in that order. Just for fun. Who are the 4 worst teams? The non-power rankings in your mind, or 3, whatever, in the NBA. This is totally for fun, off the top of your head, Steve, because it's the bottom 5 are really bottomed, but you could give me 3 and that'd be good. And there isn't Pelican, not in the bottom 5. Interesting. On the NBA.com list I'm using. I don't have the whole list in front of me.
I think the Pelicans are a train wreck too.
Okay.
The Sacramento Kings.
They're the worst. They're tied for the worst with
the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep. Those are the 2 worst by far. Yes, and that's what the power ranking. I'm actually surprised, now that you bring up the Pelicans, at who is 5th worst. So it's the Kings are tied for the worst with the Nets power rankings right now, going in lots of time. The Bucks and the Grizzlies are what, 3rd and 4th worst? The Bulls are 5th worst on the power rankings from ESPN and NBA. I would put the Pelicans there and put the Bulls ahead of them. That's an interesting one.
I am interested to see what this Bulls team does, and the Bucks. I mean, everyone's going, Giannis is gone, but you got Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Tyler Hero, Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter, Gary Trent, Dieng, Khalil L., and Karis LeVert. They also brought in Burries in the draft, Ament in the draft, and Markovich in the draft. I don't think the team's going to make the playoffs, but I think it's an interesting team to watch to see what they can do. They're kind of with that Washington Wizards, who have bigger names with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. But I think the Bucks have done a really good job at seeing what they can do. And if it doesn't work, they have valuable pieces that they can trade off if they're that bad during the course of the season to continue with the rebuild. They might be good enough to battle for 9th or 10th and have a playoff spot if by chance there are some injuries to some of these other teams. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets and the Sacramento Kings, to me, have 0 chance. I think they are the last 2 teams, and there's some distance to get up to that 3rd worst team. And that's where I put, the Pelicans. I'm not sold. I know they got Zion Williamson. Okay. And what are the Memphis Grizzlies doing? I mean, they've moved on from Ja Morant. D'Angelo Russell's going to end up in Miami, and just letting you know, I believe that Memphis is working on a deal to move him out to some place he wants to go. I think he's going to want to go to Miami and end up there. There's just not anything there with Memphis either.
Now, you mentioned the chaos of watching can these egos in the Sixers work. Of course, we win the chaos battle either way because, well, you presume they're either going to be a train wreck because they can't get along, or what if they do gel and we're all talking about this team of all-stars? Can they win 72, 3, 4? It's all chaos. It's all great. It's probably not as exciting as we would have liked with the Warriors, but I like the chaos. It sounds like you're saying no to this next thought I had when you were describing, look, Embiid, and then I threw in James, LeBron. You guys, we need you in the playoffs. Stay healthy, stay rested. But the no part is You're not suggesting the Sixers are the NBA's version of the Dodgers, right? Who can just say, look, we're going to be there. Everything or are they? Are they in a position that they're getting to the playoffs. They might not win the East. So we're going to act like the Dodgers. It's all about June and May.
No, I can't put them in the Dodgers because the Dodgers have the winning pedigree. They've won back-to-back World Series. They know what it takes. They know how to put it together. This Sixers team's going to take half a season just for everyone to figure out what their role is, how they're going to do it, if it's going to work, does it work for them? And that's where potential-wise, yes, they could be the Dodgers. If they put it all together and they're not taking 15 cabs to the arena and they're going out to dinner together after the game and they're doing these things as a team, I think you might be able to say, yeah, they are the Dodgers. They just need to go. But it's going to take a good season. They may be the Dodgers next year if all goes right and they love their rules and they love what they're doing and they just want to win a championship. Next year, they could be the Dodgers. This year, no. They got to figure out how to put this thing together.
Now, I like a couple things, although I might be giving LeBron too much credit. I like it's a 2-year deal with a player option, etc., meaning we are not set up for a farewell season. There's no reason to do that unless he makes some other announcement. So he's going to play, and we shouldn't have the chaos of LeBron saying goodbye unless he says something. And then at the end of the year, if he wants, it can be over then. And we won't have to go through the long goodbye thing that you and I hate, these farewell tours. But that does leave me to the question. Do you believe it? Is this it? Is the Sixers, I mean, he's 41. Is the Sixers it? This is where LeBron ends. And whether it's 1 or 2 years, that it's all over and he stays with the Sixers. And I suppose, whether it's 1 or 2 years, we'd have to go through do they win? Don't they win? If they win the championship, he's an idiot if he keeps playing. But do you believe it? Is this it?
No. Well, it depends on how you define it. If the Sixers go out and win, I think he's going to play. They win the championship this year. He'll be there next year. Let's see if we can win back-to-backs. And if they can, then he'll exercise his player option and come back. That's best case scenario. I don't think he would walk away if they won it this year. Worst case scenario, the chaos hits and it's a disaster. One, I'd love to know, does LeBron have a no trade in his contract? I got to believe he does. But even if he does, so it's not working. This is a fractured team, too many alphas. We've seen the interest from LeBron. Don't they then just go, hey, look, it ain't working out here. Trade me to Miami, trade me to Golden State, trade me to Cleveland, trade me to one of those, which is why I can't say this is it if it goes bad, because I do believe he will force his way out of town. And because so much interest on him, I have to believe any of those teams, we know what the contract is, any of those teams, because that's what they would have given him if he signed with them. They'll make the trade. He'll go to that place, say, look, Philadelphia, I couldn't take the fan base. I couldn't take it. It was just too much. I tried. And he'll go somewhere else and he goes, look, I want to win, so I'm sacrificing here. The other part that I also, and nobody's talked about, and I find this interesting as well, we've always talked about where's Bronny going to go. And he's sitting there with the Lakers. And I look at the Sixers roster and I'm like, they're already 15 deep. I mean, are they really going to go and trade for Bronny just to put him on it? And is Bronny ever? I mean, talk about being a water boy at the end of the bench. There's no way that Bronny would get off the bench to play for this team if they are seriously competing for a championship. So is this the end of the LeBron and Bronny stays in the Lakers? And if that's the case, and they know he's not going to the Sixers, how long do the Lakers really hold on to LeBron? Do they truly believe that he can be a quality NBA player, or do they end up letting Bronny go, in the preseason? It's that, we don't want you as our 15th guy on the team. You're not on a 2-way contract, so I can't send you back and forth. And they just cut the ties and move on.
And if they do, does LeBron apply any pressure? to Philadelphia. This is being talked about a little bit. It's way
Okay.
down there because it's a curiosity that I'm seeing thrown around, and that's one of the scenarios. You're right. And the Lakers, as we reported yesterday, they're in the same situation as the Sixers. They got too many players. They've got to get rid of one or two people, and Bronny seems top of the list. But now the team that LeBron's with, like you said, do they really want him? And so other people are saying, is this Bronny's chance to, if you're going to put a positive spin on it, and we know this isn't how it goes, he breaks out, he goes somewhere else, get out of LeBron's shadow, play for someone, anyone, and the idea being prove that you can play, which we all know he can't. So I don't know. I'm with you. I think it's a fascinating side story for the whole thing.
And at the time, we were talking about it in our opinion, and I don't want to fully speak for you, but I thought that's where he needed to stay in school. He needed to prove at his level in college that he could be a quality player, and he wasn't getting drafted straight into the NBA because of his father. It was his way of being able to separate himself from his father, show that he truly deserves to be drafted in the NBA, and he didn't. He just followed his dad, forced the Lakers, I believe, to select him in that second round. He's been riding his dad's coattails, and even if he could play at this point, if he's not on the team with his father, do you think a team is truly, truly, truly going to give him that opportunity to prove that he belongs in the NBA? I'm not sure any team's going to.
I did this morning on the other show on the radnetwork.com only half jokingly suggest this sounds like the perfect opportunity for the Sacramento Kings, a team that needs any sort of attention. I said it in the presence of a Kings fan who said, well, I'd probably buy a Bronny jersey just because, it's Bronny. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So back to more serious things. We've been saying this whole time, Steve, for over a week. The NBA has been waiting for the domino to fall. The domino being LeBron. Okay, high gear time. LeBron, Sixers. Seems like the Sixers are, for the most part, done. Now you got to, what else happens? What's going on with this damn Kawhi trade? But also, what are the Warriors? What do they do? What about Kuminga? Is Jimmy Butler going to be healthy? Are the Warriors still moving on? There's other things out there. So are you looking at which shoes and how soon to drop in the NBA?
I think the next thing you're going to see is D'Angelo Russell sign with the Miami Heat. He's out there. He doesn't want to play with the Grizzlies. They came out yesterday talking about how they're looking for a fit for him. No one was going to do anything till LeBron is done. I would expect that they need a guard. They need help in the backcourt, and I would think D'Angelo Russell will be there within the next 24 to 48 hours. The Kuzma part still sits there. Not sure where he's fully going to go. It wouldn't shock me if the Warriors reach out and try to see if they can get something for Anthony Davis. Maybe the Wizards now are a little bit more open to trading him. I don't think they will be, because I think they want to see what they can do with Debanza, Trae Young, Keyshawn George, and Anthony Davis, and just see what kind of team they can have. I'm not sure the Wizards are going to go anywhere. I mean, they brought in DeAndre Ayton again, one of those guys I call the coach killer. Looks good at times, but I don't think he's good for chemistry, or too many times he takes time off and doesn't look very interested. Those are a couple of things that I can see happening here pretty quick.
Some of the rumors, and that's all they are. They're not even backed up by like Shams or Wendy yet, but some of them that are already being floated after the LeBron trade. Does Kuminga go back to the Warriors? Because the Warriors are sitting there going, "Uh-oh, what do we do?" Do they just roll it out with who they have, or like you said, they pursue somebody else? The Mavericks, prior to the LeBron move, have publicly said no interest in trading either Irving or Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, Irving for the Wizards. And what was the other one? Kyrie, Anthony. Yeah. Is there anything else in there from of what you see dropping right away?
Just on the pre-drop, article came out today that the Cleveland Cavaliers were looking, and LeBron wanted to go back to Cleveland, but wanted Kyrie Irving with him. And Dallas said, no, we're not moving on. He's not going. I even got the impression that Kyrie's like, no, I'm here in Dallas. I want to see what we can do. And I think that was probably the big step that said, okay, I'm not going to Cleveland now. And what pushed him to the Sixers because of that talent. But I don't, I can't speak to enough of the what else might fall other than what's out there. So it's going to be curious to see what happens.
Okay, so we just one more. These thoughts keep coming into my head. This is what we do. Again, it's like two guys sitting at a bar. You just keep ordering drinks. Okay, so we talked about the Sixers Heat. I'm sorry, Sixers Knicks. You said, I think the Sixers are the favorite to win the East. Odds makers initially are saying East Knicks are still a little. Why? No one's talking about the Celtics. Are they persona non grata? They forgotten? Have they been passed over by? Are we at Knicks, Sixers, and then a big dip?
I think the East is very competitive this year. I think we are at the Sixers, Knicks, and then there's a little bit of a dip. I don't think it's a big dip. The Celtics are sitting there, and the funny thing is as you're talking, I'm like, no one's even brought up the Miami Heat yet. They got Giannis. This means they're going to be a favorite. What, we're sitting now with the Heat at like 4th, maybe Toronto. If they go and get Kawhi, what are we up to? Maybe 5th. If the Kawhi thing falls apart, which again, I still just bang my head against the wall and say, how can the NBA not have resolved this by now? But they haven't. Orlando Magic, we haven't discussed them in any way there with Paolo Banchero and, Desmond Bane, Jalen Suggs. And the number one team in the East last year, Detroit Pistons. I don't think they're done. I think they're sitting there. I keep hearing a lot of talk about Kevin Durant ending up in Detroit to go along with Cade Cunningham, which would be pretty interesting to see what could happen there with Kevin Durant and Cade Cunningham and some of the players they've brought in too. So I think there's still a lot of movement to take place. And we got the Pistons now sitting at like 7th in the East, and I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure the Heat are better or the Raptors are better than the Pistons.
So the idea of Kevin Durant going to your Detroit Pistons, you called that interesting. What do you call it as a fan? As a fan of the Pistons, do you like that?
I'm not. I like Kevin Durant. I just, outside of teaming up with Steph Curry, and it was really the Warriors, not so much Kevin Durant in my mind. He's never been able to win. He's a great player, great individual player. I'd rather have him and take my shot at winning a title than James Harden. But both are prolific scorers, and I'm not sure both play that team ball that you really need in order, because every championship team has that chemistry, has that spark. You see it all the time, and it just doesn't seem to be there outside of the time he was with the Warriors, but I don't think it was because of him.
Now, I forget how you phrased that. You'd rather have Kevin Durant than, say, James Harden for what? For like how they perform in the postseason?
Yeah. I think Kevin Durant gives me a shot at winning a title. I don't think James Harden gives me a shot, and he's proven it throughout his career.
Okay, we'll take Durant out of it because he's the winner either way. Who do you want, James Harden or Chris Paul?
I take Chris Paul, although
really?
He's done playing. Yeah, Chris Paul plays a team, distributes them. I just Harden, Hall of Famer.
You just don't like
great player. I mean, when we sit there and we talk about how he has, in these games, he has like more fouls than field goals made and all these different playoff games. You can't do that. This is clutch time. I mean, Dave Winfield's a Hall of Famer, but the one World Series, what do you go? 1 for 28. If he did that throughout his entire career, every time he hit the postseason, we'd just be talking about him as a choker. And that's the problem with Hart. He's hit a couple of big buckets in postseason. I'm not going to take that away, but he has been bad more times than he has been good in his postseason career.
One final basketball note not related to the NBA, but it is an update on a story we've been following for you. The highly anticipated December 21st non conference men's basketball game between Duke and Michigan, a rematch of a February matchup in D.C. last year, won by Duke, was announced in late April as part of Duke's first of a kind enterprise partnership with Amazon, with games being streamed exclusively on Prime Video. The company's first foray, Amazon's first foray into broadcasting live college sports beginning next season. Prime Video will exclusively present 3 Duke neutral site non conference games per season. And one of them was Duke, Michigan, Madison Square Garden. But there was a little problem with broadcasting rights, which forced the sides to attempt to fix things by moving the game to Florida and the home of the Miami Marlins. I don't know how that would have fixed things, but it didn't. The broadcast rights issue remain, and as of today, it's over. The game's canceled. It's over. Instead, Duke will play Texas Tech on December 21st at Madison Square Garden. They've got their 2 other games that they're going to play on Prime Video are still scheduled, but that one, the big one that we were talking about, that ain't going to happen.
No, and what's it all about? As you always say, everything's about the
money.
It's all about the money. And when the Duke announced this deal that they reached it with Amazon at that time, we were doing the show and I remember saying, look, this game ain't going to happen because Michigan wants a cut. They're not going to play it and allow Duke to take the TV revenue because they have the exclusive deal with Amazon to show it exclusively on that. I think they tried to go to the stadium maybe to get a bigger crowd or something like that so they have more money. But I don't think even moving the venue worked out in Michigan. And this is pure speculation. This is just my opinion here. I don't think Michigan ever got to receiving the amount of money that they felt they deserved. They're the defending champion and they're giving all the money to Duke. It just no. And they backed out. They moved on and no surprise. It just, Texas Tech, hey, look, we'll take whatever money you can get. We're in Madison Square Garden. We just want the publicity. This is great. And we want to showcase our team. But that's differences when you get into that business side. Michigan, I believe, doesn't feel that they need to play in that game to show their program. They're the defending champs. They want their cut of the money too.
The 3 games that will be streamed exclusively on Prime do include, obviously, Duke and Texas Tech, December 21st, Madison Square Garden. The agreement also includes Duke facing UConn in Las Vegas on November 25th and Gonzaga in Detroit at the end of February. Those games all exclusively on Prime Video.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
The first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from QuickDumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, Q-U-I-K Dumpsters.com. That's QuickDumpsters.com. Corey's yet another maggot launching his own locally owned and operated business, and boy, did I need him, and really we all do. Things pile up, you get frustrated, you keep saying, we need to make a dump run. Pretty soon it's more than a dump run, and now you need to rent a truck or have one of those ugly upside down box cars parked in front of your house that you fill up yourself. Or you do like I did, you call Corey at QuickDumpsters.com. In my case, my house had fallen into complete disarray as my late wife Christina had lost her 2-year battle with congestive heart failure, and amongst the many things left were gathering her things and finding what to donate, what had to just go in that pile of stuff where we were both going, why did we ever buy this? And it all could have been so overwhelming had Corey not just walked in, taken charge, and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, Q-U-I-K, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story is incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to quickdumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, dumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
Welcome to the Rob and Steve Show. Like so many men, they played sports all the way through high school and then realized we suck. Let's just watch and talk about sports. Email them, ras@theradnetwork.com.
A week from Monday, Major League Baseball trade deadline, and that's where a lot of the talk, the chatter is, the rumors, who should or shouldn't be trading, what will happen, etc. Of course, you get the All-Star break. Everybody starts talking about also the postseason awards, etc. And it all kind of comes together with our beginning of a little bit of a different way to look at who's in and who's out in Major League Baseball. Chris Sale, he went 14 Major League seasons and then finally got his first Cy Young Award. And if he keeps going the way he is, could he get his second? On Thursday, he endured a 3-run second inning against the Padres, regained his dominant form, and Sale allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 11 strikeouts over 6 innings. He's got a 2.19 ERA. That's behind only Mizorowski among all Major League pitchers. The only pitchers to produce a sub 2.2 ERA if he got 20 starts during their age 37 season or later have been Roger Clemens and Justin Verlander. Those are 2 pretty good names for Chris Sale to be in the company with if he continues the way he's been going. He retired 13 of his 14 final batters and has accounted for 3 of the 6 times a Braves pitcher has completed at least 6 innings. It was his 11th win. So MLB.com went to their 33 current and former voters for postseason awards. They do this. It's anonymous. And they keep track. They really ramp it up second half of the season. They ask them, these are either people that have a vote or used to have a vote, who will win the Cy Young Award based not only the results from the first half, but how things are expected to go the rest of the way. Voters do the same thing. They have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 point scale, etc. They use stats through last Sunday when the vote was taken, so some of it might not completely line up with where we are now. But Chris Sale of the Braves is 3rd in National League Cy Young voting right now amongst former and current voters. Does that sound right to you, Steve? That's in the National League, obviously. Or is that a bad spot? Again, we don't know. It includes what will happen. Do you think Sale's about 3rd if you were projecting it?
See, I think he's 3rd right now. If you throw in projections, that's where it gets tough because Mizorowski, And you got to feel for the guy because one, I believe they're going to watch his innings. They're going to slow him down. They're going to watch how many innings, how many pitches he throws. He's going to start throwing like 4 innings. I think he went in his last outing 5 innings. So his innings pitched is going to drop compared to other pitchers, the Chris Sales, the Christopher Sanchez's. So not only will it cost him wins, it's going to cost him innings, it's going to cost him strikeouts, and ultimately, where I think he is the Cy Young Award winner right now, I think it's probably going to cost him the Cy Young because he won't have enough of that to put up there. And my number 2 right now is Christopher Sanchez. And this is where I get on that one start from Don Mattingly. And I hope that they throw that start out because I would have had without that one start, looking at the numbers, Christopher Sanchez, number 1, Mizrachi 2. But throwing that one, keeping that one, Sanchez's stats don't look as good, but I'm going to project that Christopher Sanchez will win the Cy Young, and probably Chris Sale second, and Mizrachi will probably fall to third.
The current and former voters did put Mizrachi first for now. There wasn't any commentary, but you do wonder how much were they like wobbly about how the rest of the season goes, because the Brewers are openly talking about what you brought up yesterday. Do we do a 6-man rotation? Things like that. Christopher Sanchez, second, is who they vote. He's 12-4, for God's sakes. He had that 50 2/3 scoreless inning streak. His ERA, we love Don Mattingly,
Was
but as
it
Steve said,
2.66, something like that now?
7-1, which is 7th. 2.71.
Oh,
Again,
okay.
as of Sunday. As of Sunday. So I don't know if you're through.
And that's the
But
problem. You pull out that one start, and I think he drops down to like 2-1. He's right with Chris Sale.
Right behind Chris Sale for current and former voters for postseason awards, Zach Wheeler, who, if he had the innings to qualify, would actually have the 3rd best ERA in the majors, but he didn't start until late. But he's 10-1 after starting in late April. And Chase Burns, who's 11-1 with the Reds and a 3rd best. He actually has the 3rd best ERA in the National.
And Chase Burns has had an unbelievable season. He is. That's why Cincinnati went out, locked him up long term. I think it was a 7-year contract, if I remember right. But he's playing with the Reds. They're not going to be in the thick of it, and I don't think he's going to maintain at this level the second half. And that's where I move on from him. And Zach Wheeler will be right there. I do believe it. Think he's got that chip on his shoulder now with the All-Star game snub and feeling that he was a charity case. And I think he's going to hold that through the second half as well.
He's also starting to little rumbles about how long he's going to play, and whether or not he's tired of this game. And since I had it because of the Chris Sale thing, American League, who you got number 1 in the American League, or who you thinking? American League Cy Young winner, same thing now and projected.
Man, what Dylan Cease? I think he's going to continue going pretty strong with that.
He is second right now, according to the current and former voters. The 6 and 5. That's probably dinging him a little bit.
But I think Cam Schlittler is going to win it. I've been saying this. I think I gave out of the program in April. Hey, look, if you can go get that 30-1 odds on Cam Schlittler sitting out there, even though the season started, I think it was like 200-1 or something like that. I think Schlittler will end up winning it.
He's still in first. He has been for weeks in this poll. 9-6 leads the American League's got a 2.20 ERA, 123 innings. Opponents 205 average. Then Cease, Joe Ryan. Why is Sonny Gray so low? Is it because he doesn't strike people out? He's 12-1 with the 2nd best ERA behind Schlittler. How's he 4th?
Here, I thought it was because he wasn't even an all-star. Don't we have to consider all-stars for the Cy Young Award? But you talk about Zach Wheeler getting snubbed and should have been there. Sonny Gray should have been a replacement as well. 12-1 low ERA. I mean, he is there in everything other than strikeouts. But no, he's not there either.
All right, back to Chris Sale and the Braves. Right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. Is supposed to be activated from the injured list and returned to the lineup today against Baltimore. He was placed on the IL with a hamstring on June 9th, missed 15 games in May with the same injury. 2023 MVP, 7 minor league games during his rehab assignment. ready to go tonight, hitting 251, 15 stolen bases, 53 games. The Braves, when Acuna's in the lineup, 37-16. When he's not, losing record, 23-26. Braves are 4.5 up over the Philadelphia Phillies. As mentioned, they go into Baltimore for the weekend. We'll start tonight with Grant Holmes at Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, the Braves really need Acuna Jr. back in that lineup. He's one of the elite hitters in the game and totally different offense when he is there. He gives that lineup length. Grant Holmes, pretty decent pitcher, sitting at 6-4, ERA a little under 4. His whip, though, sitting right around 1.4. He is very hittable, although he is 2-0 in his last 3 outings. And Trevor Rogers, this is the guy the second half looked great last year for the Orioles. The start of the season, they're like, yes, this is the guy. This is our ace. And then the wheels came off. He's 6-7 now, 4.3 ERA. But he has pitched a little bit better as of late. He's 1-0 in his last 3 outings. Orioles are playing really good baseball. They've lost 2 in their last 10, had those 2 losses, heartbreak losses against the Red Sox, and back on a winning streak here. And I'm waiting to see the Braves step up. I think they are the better team, and they need to make some distance now on the Phillies. But this Orioles team's playing really good baseball. They just don't have the pitching. Trevor Rogers was supposed to be their ace, and he just has not fulfilled that, along with Bradish and everyone else in that rotation.
With the trade deadline a week from Monday, we do have a lot more names, a lot more teams that are throwing names out. Some big series is this weekend that we'll get to in a bit. The other baseball note that I'll throw out here has absolutely nothing to do with the postseason because it involves the A's, my team. An investment group that includes former Dallas Mavericks majority owner Mark Cuban has bought a minority stake in the A's in anticipation of their move to Vegas in 28. We do not know the exact percentage of the Athletics that it had acquired, but Cuban, of course, still has 27% of the Mavericks. And he's the general partner of this group that's investing. So he found a way around MLB not letting him buy, was it the Cubs years ago? Now Cuban comes in as part of an investment group. We don't know the percentage he has. God, would I love it, because I'll stay an A's fan, if he somehow takes over the team from the. I mean, if this is what we're talking about, A's get to Vegas in 28. They see their value. Again, value is what will somebody pay you? We can do whatever we want on paper. But as we see these teams, what did the Seahawks, did they just sell for $9 billion, something like that?
I believe it was, yes. Like 9.2, 9.3, somewhere in there.
By the time the A's get to Vegas, we'll know how much some idiot paid for the expansion NBA team, which I still say $12 billion. And so does Mark Cuban come along and say, this is why I did this back in the summer of 26. I'm just going to buy Fisher out, and he takes over. As a fan, I'm like, oh, I'd love that. Somebody who actually wants to win. I don't know. I don't know. Have you heard anything? You're there, Steve. Have you heard anything?
No, I have not, but I am right along with you. I hope this is kind of like the Timberwolves offer. Look,
yes.
And the A's owner had been looking for somebody to invest into the, minority part of the team. And I really hope, and fingers crossed, that he wrote into it that we're going to buy in at this rate. And then once the team moves to Las Vegas, we have the right to exercise an option to buy the majority of the team at X amount of dollars, just like A-Rod and his partner did with the Timberwolves, and just buy the A's out. Let Mark Cuban have a baseball team in Las Vegas with everything going on. And it makes a little sense. Look, this team's going to get overvalued as soon as it goes to Las Vegas. But if I can buy 25% at the $2 billion evaluation or something like that, and then I will buy another 30% at the $6 billion investment, they're still selling the team. He's still getting a much better investment off of that 30 or 50, or who knows, it might be like 80% more. At the $6 billion evaluation, still sets up the A's owner to make a pretty penny based on the move to Las Vegas. Because if they continue doing what they've done in Oakland with this team, with the money ball that hasn't been successful, because now everybody's into the analytics, and just continue to, we're not going to pay, we're not going to do anything, where the value is going to jump when they move there in the first season, it will start to deteriorate over time. So the best time to sell it, if that's really what you're looking at, would be, right after you go to Las Vegas, play a season, and then sell it at that time. It's why you saw these big casinos in Las Vegas get built. They'd capitalize. The most money they're ever going to make was in that first season, and then you'd see them sell right after that. Hopefully, the A's owner does that as well. And Mark Cuban has set himself up so he can buy the remainder of the team. I really hope that's the case, because I wanted Mark Cuban to buy the Cubs at the time. I'd love to see him. Vegas deserves an owner that wants to win, and money is really not a cost. They are there to win. Vegas deserves that with everything they do. We see it with the Vegas Golden Knights, and this community has backed the Knights. It is unbelievable how much support they get. But this team is not going to be backed with the current ownership in Las Vegas for the A's, just like with the Raiders. It's not going to happen because of the way they run their teams.
I would, if this has, and there's this, like you spelled out there, legitimate reason to believe there's something to this. This isn't just two idiots just creating something out of nowhere. That's what they do on First Take. Because I would move it up, first of all. If we presume we're right, there's going to be a lockout in December, and then there's going to be a negotiation, and we are almost certainly going to come out with a cap and a floor. That's when I would, if I was Mark Cuban, that's when I'd go to Fisher. Then I would say, look, dude, the minute you move to Vegas, now I'm not giving you a year. The minute you move to Vegas, let's implement this. Because don't even give him a year to ruin the team. And the other thing is, John Fisher almost out openly, not quite, has said, I'm in it for the money. Good. Give it to him. Get him out of here. Now, back to the A's. As I said, nothing to do with the postseason. We've eliminated them. Get out of here. You don't have a wild card spot. As a fan, and Steve's been right with me. Just bring everybody up. You got this great farm system. The A's, they're losing everybody. Kurtz is hurt. He'll be back soon. JT Ginn now is on the IL. Blisters in the middle finger. Gage Jump, we don't know what's going on with him. I mentioned yesterday, they're so in disarray that the A's didn't even know who they would start tonight at the time. Yay us, a weekend series. The A's are playing Minnesota. Okay. For Minnesota, there's playoff ramifications if you believe they're in that wild card hunt. They're in Minnesota. The only two A's that we know are pitching are their two worst ones that are left. On Sunday, they're going to throw Jeffrey Springs. They haven't announced anything tomorrow, and they're throwing Jacob Lopez tonight. Christ. Against, Zebby Matthews for the Twins.
Yes, and neither pitcher has been very good this year. Lopez, everyone's heard me harp on him the entire season. Lopez is 3-4, ERA of 6.7. Matthews 4-7, his ERA is 5.4. So let's break it down. Yeah, let's even break it down into the last three outings. Both pitchers are 0-2 in their last three starts. Lopez's ERA 10.12. Matthews's ERA 11.08. Matthews's WHIP is 2.20. This is two pitchers pitching it tonight. I wish this was in Sacramento. I really do. This is one of those 11 home runs hitting the game and final score of like 23-18. Neither pitcher can get anyone out. So hopefully the A's have a chance there. And maybe, the bullpen seems to be a good day, bad day. Hopefully this is a good day for that bullpen with the A's as well. And they can find a win to win in Minnesota. They are a better team on the road. They're just playing so bad at baseball right now. The A's can't beat anybody.
Now, I'm scrambling here for this. Here we go. This is what I want. Now, for some reason, so you and I have officially eliminated a few teams from contention. Like, we don't need to talk about the A's, the Royals, the Angels in the wild card, and the Reds, Mets, Giants, Rockies for the National League in the wild card. The Mariners, I get it. Mathematically, Christ, they're right there. The wild card right now, I'm sorry, not the Mariners, the Twins, sorry. Yankees, Howardians, Red Sox. Right now, top three wild card for the American League. Then come the Mariners. I got ahead of myself. They're 2 games back, and right behind them are the Twins. But for some reason, A, I don't feel it with Minnesota. B, we just went through yesterday. They're ready to trade 2 of their biggest names. I don't know how much they're playing for because this is their weekend where they could win 2 or 3 out of 3 at home.
Best hitter, Byron Buxton, right up there on the trade block, gonna go. Best
Yep.
pitcher and Joe Ryan, their ace, right there. He's gonna go. So how excited can you be? I think the Twins all know this. This is the direction the ownership has always taken. Yeah, they're at home. Maybe they can win 2 out of 3. Maybe they can sweep the A's. But you're rolling into that deadline. Everyone in that clubhouse for the Twins is going, okay, am I going to get moved? What are they going to do? Yeah, we're right there, but it doesn't feel that way. And this is how the team, proceeds every year. Again,
And
I give some little hope. Maybe the A's can win 2 out of 3. It'd be great if they could sweep. I just wonder how many runs they're going to have to score in this weekend series in order to sweep. Do they have to go 30 plus to get 3 wins?
the if the A's sweep the Twins, that might be enough to get everybody to stop talking about Minnesota being in the hunt, depending on where everything else falls. But so are you lumping Minnesota into that group that we were just talking about again yesterday? A regular thing for us. Bad management, bad ownership. They don't pursue winning. Now everybody's going to say, well, that's because they're in a small market. But do you put them in that group, and how do you respond?
Yes, I know what the standings look like with the Twins and the Orioles sitting there 2.5 out, 3 games out of the wild card. I really don't believe either team has a shot at making the playoffs and the wild card. I think Houston, Detroit, and Toronto, who are all below both of those teams, all have a better shot at making the playoffs than the Twins or the Orioles. The Orioles have no pitching. I mean, you look at the A's and yeah, the Orioles pitching isn't quite as bad because they don't play in Sacramento. But if you switch ballparks, I think the Orioles pitching staff is probably just as bad as what we're watching out of the A's.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
The first time Corey walked into my home, I came around the corner, extended my right hand to shake it, and said to him, "Wow, you're big." And that would be Corey from QuickDumpsters.com. Quick is spelled wrong intentionally. Quick, Q-U-I-K Dumpsters.com. That's QuickDumpsters.com. Corey's yet another maggot launching his own locally owned and operated business, and boy, did I need him, and really we all do. Things pile up, you get frustrated, you keep saying, we need to make a dump run. Pretty soon it's more than a dump run, and now you need to rent a truck or have one of those ugly upside down box cars parked in front of your house that you fill up yourself. Or you do like I did, you call Corey at QuickDumpsters.com. In my case, my house had fallen into complete disarray as my late wife Christina had lost her 2-year battle with congestive heart failure, and amongst the many things left were gathering her things and finding what to donate, what had to just go in that pile of stuff where we were both going, why did we ever buy this? And it all could have been so overwhelming had Corey not just walked in, taken charge, and removed dozens of boxes of total junk, unusable dog kennels, desks that were falling apart, a worthless old smoker that couldn't be fixed, bag after bag of crap, and I can't remember what else. He was quick, spelled wrong, Q-U-I-K, quiet and clean. Well, he wasn't clean. I mean, he was. But I'm not commenting on his hygiene. I meant that his work was clean. He swept everything when he was done, and the house looked like he'd never even been there. Corey's the real deal, and I couldn't be more proud and happy to call him a brand new advertiser. His story's incredible, his dedication unmatched, and his motivation to succeed larger than he is, and that's saying something. Quotes are free. You don't even have to have them over to your house. Just send him some pics or videos, and you'll get your price, schedule your day and time, and watch someone else get that junk out of your house. Go to QuickDumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, Dumpsters.com. Quick, Q-U-I-K, Dumpsters.com. Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
Just like you, they dreamt of hitting the game-winning homer to win the World Series. And just like you, well, you know. Once again, here's Rob and Steve on the Rad Network.
Shifting over to the NFL, I mentioned there were a lot of rumors and stories there. Yes, we will get back to Major League Baseball. Lots going on. I didn't anticipate having this, but it just broke. Former NFL quarterback, number one CBS NFL analyst Tony Romo was arrested in Milwaukee last night for what they call operating while intoxicated. So right away, I'm like, well, every state's different. What was he? He was operating a car, because at first I thought it was a bike or a golf cart, but no, he was driving southbound on a high-rise bridge on I-43 in Milwaukee, taken into custody after performing poorly on standard field sobriety tests. There's no mention of a blood alcohol level. It doesn't specify whether he submitted to breath testing. Again, every state is different. Some states like California, you don't have to, if you don't submit, they take your blood by force when you're arrested. We don't have any of those details, but that's the unfortunate way to start the NFL news with Tony Romo. But we'll see. He could be completely innocent. So let's all take a break. Quarterback Drew Aller has signed his rookie deal with the Steelers, announced this morning. That means only Ty Simpson is an unsigned quarterback from the 2026 draft. So now we have a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback room of course, Aaron Rodgers, along with Aller, Mason Rudolph, and Will Howard. Yay.
Yeah. You talk about the contract he signed. He was holding out, Drew Aller to see what Mendoza signed for, because maybe he felt it had a little influence on what he was going to be able to do. I still sit with don't bring Rodgers back and just let Will Howard go and see what happens. Mason Rudolph, it's going to be curious. Are they going to keep Drew Aller? Are they going to, what they're going to do with that? If keeping Aller, keeping Mason Rudolph with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, are they going to move on from him, Mason Rudolph?
Every time we talk about this, I mean, I get we can't do anything about it. We all know the right decision. It sure seems like don't bring Rodgers back. Find out what you got, sort of thing. No matter what happens this year, it's chaotic in Pittsburgh. What if Rodgers has a Hall of Fame year? What if he out of nowhere? What if the Pirates, the Steelers go 12-5? Problem. What if they wind up going 2-15? At what point do they realize that Rodgers is a disaster? And do they replace him? What do they do? There's no. They go 9-8 again, which is what we think. They miss the playoffs. Now what? Do they make the playoffs, lose again? There's no good scenario for the whole thing. There just isn't.
And I agree with that. If they felt that Mason Rudolph was any kind of a starting quarterback in this league, they would have moved to him and not gone down the path with Aaron Rodgers. but they keep going back to Rodgers, and he's held them hostage each offseason, as we've seen. So why do you still have him on your roster? The fans don't feel he's a very good quarterback. The team doesn't feel he's a very good quarterback. He's a backup at best. So move him on. Let Will Howard take a shot at that. Let Drew Aller take a shot at that. You got two young quarterbacks here that you've wasted draft picks on if you never give them the opportunity. And I'd like to see him just go with Will Howard. It's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is there, but I would probably move on from Mason Rudolph and go Drew Aller and say, look, I got two rookies. Here we go. I need to know if either of them can play. And it's one of the things I give credit to the Cleveland Browns with Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. They just, look, we're terrible. We got to find out if one of these two can play at all. So let's just put them out there, see what they can do, and figure out which one might be a backup quarterback in the league, which one might be a starting quarterback, or are they both bad and we need to move on? And that's where I don't think Mason Rudolph fits either. I think the Steelers determined several years ago he was nothing better than an average, not a quality, average backup quarterback in this league.
First of all, it's all pro Shedeur Sanders.
I know. I keep missing that. Man, I'm bad.
Mason Rudolph, look, somebody will pick him up. Everybody needs a backup who's played. And there was this story a couple weeks ago. I didn't have it for us. It was just because it was kind of a dumb. It was pointed out how dumb it was quickly, because the point of the article was to rank the teams in the NFL with the best quarterback situation. Now, when I saw that, I immediately said, without thinking, I said, Niners. They've got Brock Purdy, and they've got the best backup in the league. Then I saw other people say the Chiefs, Mahomes, Trey Lance, and I went, yeah, that's pretty good. But then other people came in and said, wait a minute, okay, Niners, Chiefs, those are good. You guys, a lot of you guys writing or voting on this, you're not following the spirit of the exercise. Situation. Why are you naming Lamar, the Bills, and the Ravens? They don't have great quarterback situations. They have great starting quarterbacks. So the whole thing kind of fell apart as people debated it. And it seems like everybody kept going back to the Chiefs and the Niners, which does bring you back to the Niners, who are working out quarterback, not Jake, but Jack Plummer, the reigning UFL MVP. He's also going to work out, by the way, with the Dolphins next week. Plummer led the Orlando Storm to an 8-2 record as a starter this year. He threw 2,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, 65 pass completion percentage. He would, quote, compete with Adrian Martinez and Curtis Rourke for the third spot. I suppose, Steve, this is the old why not? It's a cheap potential guy. He had a great UFL season. He could be our third, because, if Brock goes down for the year, we got the best backup or one of them, but who backs him? Okay, not sexy, but now I actually thought it said Jake Plummer when I saw the headline. I mean, you got to be goddamn kidding. It's Jack. No relation at all, by the way.
And a couple of things. Who knows? He could be the next Kurt Warner. Bring him in. You're talking third string. Just get an idea what he does and let him go. And Rob, I'll tell you, I fell into that. The part you said was ridiculous. Hey, look, I was there because you were saying the best quarterback situation type of thing. And I didn't take it as the depth, because if you have two good quarterbacks, you never really have one, because you're always looking over your shoulder at the other one. So I immediately, there's Lamar Jackson. I went to Jared Goff. Backup's Teddy Bridgewater. He's never going to threaten for the starting role. And so as you phrased the question, I wasn't thinking which team still has a shot to compete to go deep into the playoffs if their starting quarterback goes down. I just viewed it as, look, there's no competition. I got a really good quarterback up front. I got no competition, so no one's ever looking over their shoulder at who might. So you don't have any of that tension in the locker room. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's where they screwed up with that word, because situation to some means the whole situation, and to others is and yes, you're right. The putting the Ravens on there. Look, I'm so off the Lamar train, and I have been for a while. So that one, I got to admit my bias. Josh Allen, sure, he's great, but And so, in other words, the point is, whether I like it or not, it soiled the voting, or it soiled the article to where we don't even know what we're getting in the end. Was that all the follow ups you had? Or?
Yeah, because if you look at Josh Allen, and that could be the best. I mean, his backup's Kyle Allen. He's not even a good backup quarterback in any way. So there's your best. Look, I got one great quarterback who's arguably the best quarterback in the league, and there's no one to even threaten him. So yeah, no competition.
Now, I couldn't tell yesterday if this was a story because it seemed like there were plenty of other good high level sports stories, or was this a function of it's a slow, or it was LeBron, a slow sports week, and people were just grasping at things? Why? Oh my God, this thing was shoved down my throat that Diego Pavia has been cut by the Ravens. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist from Vanderbilt. He'll clear waivers, and then all 31 other teams can take him on with his contract. Why was this such a big deal? What? Who cares?
Because he was a Heisman finalist. If you pull that part out of it, he went undrafted as a Heisman finalist. So how could he not be wanted by all of these NFL teams? And if you remember, they signed Joe Fagnano or something like that. The same time that they signed him. I want to say it was like within 24 hours they signed them both. Well, this tells me that Joe played better in the voluntary workouts. He outperformed him, and you don't have enough snaps now. You're rolling into the the preseason and all of that to keep and go 4 deep. So Joe beat out Diego Pavio or whatever his name is, and they're moving on. But I think they did him right though, because now he has the opportunity to go possibly go to the Arizona Cardinals. They got a coin toss in that quarterback room. Go there. Maybe he can earn a spot.
Yeah, the Ravens, they've got Lamar, obviously. They've got Tyler Huntley as the backup, and Pavia would have been completing with Joe Fagnano and fifth-year veteran Skylar Thompson for the third-string quarterback job. So I'm supposed to care that an undrafted Hall of Fame finalist who's 5'10" as a quarterback is available when he couldn't beat out Skylar Thompson or Joe Fagnano as a third-string quarterback. Okay.
He's not Doug Flutie. Just keep that in mind. There's only been one Doug Flutie.
What a great reference. Google it, kids. The NFL, up until yesterday, had not confirmed the date of the Super Bowl that will conclude the 2027 season, meaning the Super Bowl that would be played in 2028. This season, the 2027 Super Bowl will be on Valentine's Day, which I find delicious. And that is and it does on this year, next year, this football year, next calendar year, Monday will be President's Day. It'll be that ultimate thing that so many of us who are football fans have been saying, why doesn't the NFL make it to where we always play the Super Bowl on President's Weekend, so we all get Monday off, so they don't have to hear the stories about $9 billion is lost by American companies because we either don't show up or we show up half-assed and all that. So they're doing it this season next year. But now we know there was this speculation. Was the NFL trying to get to 18 games as soon as the following season, next season, not this season, but next? Well, if they were, Adam Schefter, who has no NBA knowledge, but's great at the NFL, has reported that the Super Bowl will take place in Atlanta February 13th. 2028, that locks in the 17-game schedule effectively, unless they really did something weird and moved everything for at least another year, but it misses President's Day by a week. So next Super Bowl, we get President's Day off. The Super Bowl after that, we all got to work because President's Day is a week after the Monday after the Super Bowl, which is stupid.
Well, the hope is everybody complains about it enough that, hey, look, we got the taste of it. Now you went back. Oh, this is horrible. And then maybe they can help push that for the future. Sorry, I'm gonna jump here because this thought was in my mind. How many games do the Sixers get on primetime TV this upcoming season? Because you were talking about if you went to the Warriors, would it be like 60 games? And do the Sixers now get, because talk about star power.
Mhm.
I mean, this is as much star power as out there. And do they get more games on TV prime time than the San Antonio Spurs?
Well, I mean, the second one's tougher. The first one, they're going to get a ton of more games because, yeah, that was the speculation that was out there was, and it was LeBron's agent, right? Rich Paul, the other Paul, who was saying on a podcast if he went to the Warriors, just speculating, oh, that's 60 games easily. Well, okay, what about the Sixers? They're the Warriors of the East in terms of star power. Yeah, especially with the NBA's ability to continually add, they're not locked in so much like the NFL is to their games. I would think, I don't know where. Okay, if it's a freak show season, when does the bloom come off the rose, right? How many games, at what point when we're all making fun of the Sixers are they no longer relevant? That might be the big question, or they're not interesting, as that might bring them down. But they'll be relevant all year, won't they, just because of their stars?
They have to be the stars, their depth. I think you could lose two of them to injury for a significant amount of the season, and they're still right there. So I don't think they're going to back off. And as we already know, because we talked about it like a week ago, the NBA has held off on their scheduling because they
Mhm.
wanted to know where LeBron was playing. And that falls into TV and
Right.
what games are going to be in those primetime spots. I'm curious if the NBA was caught off guard thinking, oh, it's going to be Cleveland, it's going to be Miami, and all of a sudden it became the Sixers. And they're like, that's the one simulation we didn't run on the scheduling. Oh, crap. Go back to the algorithms. Let's go figure out the schedule because all our models prior were blown out the window because we didn't think he was going to the Sixers.
And we were just talking yesterday about this that's out there. Is the NBA waiting? Are they waiting for LeBron? Oh, no, we're not doing that. Well, wouldn't it be great if the schedule came out tomorrow or Monday? It's like, oh wow, and there's 48, 49, 50 games already for the Sixers that are locked in. Oh yeah, you weren't waiting at all. Whether they were or they weren't, yes, they're adjusting the hell out of it. All the dorks, all the IT dorks were called this morning, and oh my god, fix this.
And will we see the Sixers playing the Lakers on Christmas Day, or will it be a different team? Because you got Sixers or Christmas Day. It's just, are they going to play the Thunder or the Spurs? I'm leaning they'll play the Lakers.
Yeah, I think there's so many great opportunities if we're gonna do that Christmas Day highlight thing, and I don't know if the NBA has grasped the fact they've lost Christmas to the NFL.
No, they haven't.
How much of a marquee game do you want to put there? Because there's plenty of teams. What about even the Warriors would be fun, right? The Sixers, Warriors. There's a dozen teams. Sixers, Heat. All the teams that LeBron didn't go to. Cavaliers. Oh, in Cleveland.
Yes, but TV audiences.
LA.
The
LA,
Lakers
of
would be the
course.
biggest one on that Christmas Day.
Yes, absolutely.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A micro seal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about microseal and everything else that Joel offers. At AdvantageSteam.com, that's AdvantageSteam.com, AdvantageSteam.com.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
A couple of quick non-Major League Baseball stories from the sports world before we get back to everything going on MLB, as we're a week from Monday away from the trade deadline. Michael Kim, golfer, carded the 15th 59 in PGA Tour history today at the 3M Open, Minnesota. He shot 69 yesterday, holds a 3-shot lead over first-round leader Ben Coles after today's round. 8 of his birdies were from more than 10 feet. So Michael Kim hot, no real field there. 59 is the magic number on the tour. John Tortorella, by the way, shifting to hockey, who led the Golden Knights to a 7-0-1 regular season finish, a sweep of the Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals, and then a loss to the Hurricanes after going up 2-1 in the Stanley Cup Final and dropping the next 3 games. He was not allowed or offered or asked back. And finally, John Tortorella is talking and admits he was, quote, disappointed, end quote, by the Golden Knights' decision not to retain him. He told The Athletic today, quote, I was honest with Kelly, that would be general manager, Kelly McCrimmon. We met the next morning after game 6. Kelly's very honest, and he let me know within 1 minute of sitting down in that meeting, he told me Ryan Craig is coaching the team next year. I told him what I thought. We had an honest conversation, and I do truly respect where the organization is going. Tortorella is 68. He is looking for his next job, saying, oh, I want to coach. I want to coach now. I'm not sure if that happens, but that's where I am in my career. I wanted to coach that Vegas team. I mean, classy and yet Tortorella-y. I wanted to coach them. Didn't say it. I should be coaching them. I did a good job. These are all implied, but classy. I respect where the organization is going. He's been around long enough. Don't burn the bridges. I agree with him. I think you do. You seem to be as caught off guard as a Knights guy. That right there, guy. I don't know why he's not coaching the Knights. I know you explained to me this Ryan Craig guy, and that I guess he's the hot wonder kid. Okay.
And I give the Vegas Golden Knights credit. They stuck to their game plan. They had a plan. They knew what they were doing. The fact that Tortorella took them to the Stanley Cup didn't waver on that, because one of the things I do complain about is when you bring in a person who may not be the right fit and you end up giving them the job because, well, they closed out the season pretty good. And, so we need to reward him for helping us out through this time. And Tortorella did an amazing job. He turned this franchise around. They were a third place team. They were going to make the playoffs, but they had nothing going for them. They had no momentum, no anything. He got them hot, made a few changes here and there, mixed things up. The players took accountability for their action and getting Bruce Cassidy fired, and said, hey, look, we're too talented to be playing this bad. And he got them going. I think it helped set him up to get another job. If you'd have gone into Vegas and they fell flat and say they went 1-7 in their last 8 and swept in the first round, Tortorella's career might be over. Maybe nobody gives him another chance because he's 68. And at this point, he kind of faltered a bit in Philadelphia, faltered in Columbus with the Blue Jackets, came in here with a talented team and couldn't get anything done. But I think it resurrected his career, showed he can win. He has the drive. But I go back to the Knights. They stuck to their guns. This was their plan from the get-go. And I believe they had made the decision. This is where they're going when they fired Cassidy. Look, we're going to this guy. This is what it is. Who can we get to give us the best chance to finish this season strong? Tortorella was there. And I would like to know what the conversation was when they brought him in. And I know what he said in this press conference here, but I have to believe if they're this honest within a minute to say, look, sorry, we're going in this direction. I have to believe off the original, look, we're going to go in this direction, but we think you're the guy who can take us right now. Let's go see what magic we can create. We don't want to bring up our guy from Henderson Silver Knights and put him in the situation, him having never been a head coach in the NHL. Let's see what you can do. We'll give you your opportunity. And Tortorella's, yeah, this is great. I get a quality team going to the playoffs. Let's see what I can do. If we win, I got to believe he said in his mind, look, if we win and we go to the Stanley Cup and or win the Stanley Cup, they're going to sign me. I'm going to continue here, and this is where I want to be. I think he fit with the team, but I don't think he was the best fit long term. I think he was a great stopgap. But I don't think he'd still be the head coach in 2 or 3 years. And really, that's just any coach in the NHL. As you know, we talk about it. They all get fired in 2 to 3. Talk about a shelf life for a job.
It's a very short shelf. That's the missing link in the Tortorella thing is what was he told when he was hired? Because a guy like Tortorella, if he's told up front, he's like, okay, like you said, I'll just win the Stanley Cup and they'll sign me. Or, hey, I'll do a great job. Someone else will sign me. And so for him to come out now and say, I'm disappointed without a caveat of, I'm disappointed. Look, they told me this is where they were going. You do wonder where the communication is. Either way, they'll all be fine. That's the good news. Now, back to, before we get to baseball, sorry. Now that LeBron James has been signed to the Sixers, all of the fun little trivia starts to come out. For example, with LeBron James signing with the 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers have become the first team in NBA history to add multiple finals MVPs in the same offseason. Yeah, finals MVPs. See, LeBron's been one, and Jaylen Brown, right?
Could that be that Jordan never left? Technically he left the Bulls, but Bird stayed with the Celtics, Magic stayed with the Lakers, and these people wanted to win it on their own, not go out and join and form a super team.
It's a meaningless statistic. To baseball, trade deadline a week from Monday. Mariners right there in it. They're battling to win the American League West. We're all trying to figure out, can a wild card come out of that? So it's like win the West. They are looking for more offense. And according to both Ken Rosenthal and Will Salmon of The Athletic, the Mariners are willing to subtract from their existing rotation in order to do it. The Mariners are telling teams they are willing to trade right-hander Emerson Hancock. With Seattle just a half game back of the Rangers in the American League West, the Mariners already have 6 viable big leaguers in Hancock: Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Bryce Miller and Louis Castillo. They have two of the best pitching prospects in baseball in the minors. Trading from a pitching surplus is always risky because of injuries and everything else, but the Mariners are the team best positioned, they feel, to take that risk. After all, Hancock's 33 years old, has a 3.16 ERA, a 23% strikeout rate, and 105 innings. The right handed bats that Hancock is enough to offer that the Mariners are looking at include Ryan Jeffers, Taylor Ward, Ty France, Lay Thomas, Spencer Steer, Jose Fermin, and Matt McLean, amongst others. Good strategy?
Yeah, they're trading from depth and strength of the team. They need a little bit more offense. I don't think Spencer Steer is probably going to be in that list. I think he's included because he's on the Reds and they're probably, might be looking to move him. I don't think I would move Spencer Steer for Hancock. He's 33. He's starting to get up there in age. He's still, I think, more of a back of the rotation guy. Are you going to move a quality bat to get him, or are you going to move more of the journeyman who's having a good season, fits a need that you have, right-handed power, left-handed power, or outfielder to help strengthen and give your lineup a little bit more depth? So, uh, I'm not excited about either side of that trade. I don't think they're going to get a ton back for him.
No, the interesting thing is if you're willing to part with Emerson Hancock, okay, 33, he's the older of your group. He's not old for baseball. He's got potentially a good 5 years left at him. And you're willing, and you have these two amazing prospects, and you're willing to part with some of it. Why are you stopping at these almost mid names? Why don't you package them and go after a bigger bat if it's a bat that you want? I mean, obviously they don't seem logical, like to get into the Scooble race. But if it's bats, why don't you go for something bigger? That's the missing piece for me.
That's the part that I agree with. Go move Miller. Go move Woo. Go move. Gilbert. Go move one of the more top of the line. Get a better package. And get a guy who might be controllable, not a rent him for 2 months and move on. Like the Giants traded Zach Wheeler for Carlos Beltran, and look where Wheeler is, and Beltran's going to the Hall of Fame, so I can't knock it. But were the Giants really going anywhere that year to give up Zach Wheeler? I don't think they were.
Well, yeah, but Zach Wheeler's not even an all-star. So,
I know. See, that's why we trade those mid-level players.
The Mariners are a half game behind the Rangers. They are right behind the Red Sox for the wild card. If the Rangers, so right now today, season ends, Rangers are in the playoffs because they win the division, and the Mariners are right behind the Red Sox by 2 games. They started, but they're playing the series they need to. Seattle's at Texas all weekend. They start tonight with Bryce Miller going against Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah, they have the pitching matchup here. The problem is Seattle's on the road. They're 21 and 29 on the road this year. They have not been a good road team. Miller's been good ERA wise, whip wise, but he's 3-4. They're just not finding ways to win for him. He's 1-2 in his last 3 outings. His whip is sitting at 1.3 for the last 3, but it's been really good this year. He has been a good pitcher. His whip on the season, 0.86. Mackenzie Gore, the Rangers went out. They paid a high price for him. He's come in. They thought he'd be a front of the line rotation guy. Hasn't been the case. He's 6-8. His ERA is almost 5. His whip is sitting around 1.3. He is 1-1 in his last 3, but his ERA in his last 3 is over 8. He has not had the season they expected from him, but Texas is a better home team than they are a road team, and this is a critical matchup here. And I'm excited to see this series and just see which team can muster a little bit of offense and move forward. And there's a reason Seattle's looking for hitters because they're all pitching; they're not much hitting.
By the way, tomorrow Seattle is throwing Brian. Woo! Sunday, Logan Gilbert's going against Jacob deGrom for the Mariners Rangers series this weekend. The Angels are open to trade proposals for slugging shortstop Zach Neto as the deadline approaches, and overwhelmingly it's being reported one club is interested, and they have been for some time, and that would be your Boston Red Sox, Steve. Boston sees Neto as a strong fit as it heads towards the trade deadline. They had their 15-game win streak. They're right there with the AL wild card. Shortstop Trevor Story's on the IL. He's out until at least mid-August. Neto, 25, 19 homers this season. Mr. Red Sox, would you like that move?
No, not at all. And yes, Trevor Story is out there, the Red Sox number one prospect, who's one of the top prospects in the minor leagues. I want to say his name is Luis Arroyo. Um, he's actually hitting this year. He's a defensive guy as well. And he's your top prospect. Why do you go out and you would trade away prospects to bring in a Neto? And he's a good player. I don't put him in a great. I think there's a lot of shortstops that are above Neto out there. And if you're going to trade for him and trade away some of these prospects to go get him, chances are you got to sign him. Well, I'm not giving up on Marcelo Mayer as of yet. He was a top prospect, shortstop as well. So I think they would be trading future assets for a position that are they really improving any? And that's where I don't see it. I don't like the fit, and I'm hoping that Neto goes someplace else.
The Red Sox are 3 games over 500. They're third in the American League East, 6.5 back. Obviously on a roll pending. Do they get over the winning streak being snapped? Do they at 6.5 back, Steve? In your mind, as an analyst, fan second, are the Red Sox in it to win the East?
I think they are solely based on their starting pitch, and the pitching's been a strength. It really has, and bring back Garrett Crochet, and I don't know what his time frame is, but Red Sox are doing this all without their ace. That's tough to do. I know it's a 2 to 3 week period, and prior to that, they were awful, but their team finally started hitting. If the offense can continue to produce, hit with some power, and here's a thought: get on base. I mean, they were one of the lowest in walk percentages, which is so against the Red Sox model. Their goal is on base and extra base power. The home runs will fall. Get back to what we used to do and how they've been successful. But if they do that and Crochet comes back, they have the pitching. I think they need to go out and address their bullpen and get a little bit more help in the bullpen to back up that rotation. They got Whitlock, they got Weiser, they got Chapman. I would like to see them get a little bit stronger in the bullpen, and that's where I would be focusing for this team, unless I can go and get a big name that's really going to fit. Roman Anthony is one of their star outfielders. He's been out since what? Middle of April, something like that. I got to believe he's hopefully coming back soon. So find something there.
According to MLB.com, Garrett Crochet, with his ongoing shoulder inflammation and rotator cuff recovery, is currently does not have a return date, and he's not currently even cleared to throw. He is currently targeting a potential return during the postseason in October, noting that he will need a 6-week spring training style ramp up once he's even cleared to throw.
And this is where my complaint, and you see it with these pitchers all the time. If you're going to go down and you're going to have that Tommy John surgery type of thing, it's going to take you 12 to 14 months. Well, if you had gone down in April or May or whatever it was, look, you could be back the second half. Being they sat and they said, wait, rest might fix it and all that. And we're at this point. If he has to go now for surgery, he is out all of next year. So
yeah.
So you lost half of next year by the waiting game. And now if you wait till, look, maybe we can bring him back in September, October. He can contribute then if he's not ready then, and or you found out now you're moving it even farther. So now you're running the risk of, is he going to be ready for the start of the 2020s? Oh, that's right. There isn't a season. So really, I don't have to worry about it. Let's leave it this week, because he can get a surgery next year, miss the whole season. That doesn't happen.
Red Sox, though, they are right there now. They would be the third wild card team from the American League, and they are hosting the Blue Jays. We told you about this yesterday. This is on Apple TV if you have it today, 4:10 on the West Coast, and Savage is going for Toronto against Patrick Sandoval for the Sox.
Yeah, and if the Blue Jays are going to have any shot, they need just Savage to step up and be the pitcher he was like last year. He has really struggled. Started the season on the IL, missed a good chunk of the start of the season. Sitting at 4-5, ERA at almost 4. Last two, he's 0-2. His ERA is a little over 6. But Sandoval, I don't know why teams love him. He must have that live arm that they see the potential, but he's not doing a whole lot of anything. He hasn't been that good. He's only had, I think, a couple of starts for the Red Sox. His ERA is at 5, his whip's 1.7. I'm not sold that he's an answer to help this Red Sox rotation at all. So Savage and the Blue Jays have been very good in Fenway against the Red Sox. I need the Red Sox to step up. Don't prolong that losing streak now and give away everything you had. And this could be and should be a really good series this weekend.
By the way, just if you want to mark your calendar, as they say, put a note in your phone. Tomorrow at 1:00, there's the one you want to watch. Toronto at Boston. 2 Cy Young candidates, if it all happens. Dylan Cease against Sonny Gray. That would be tomorrow's matchup. You were mentioning bullpens. Well, everybody needs bullpen help, it seems like. Pittsburgh Pirates acquired reliever Ron Mananaccio from the Padres last night in the hopes of bolstering their bullpen that has faltered. The 31 Mananaccio 1-0 with a 4.79 ERA in 33 games this season for the Padres. That sounds like, hey, it's an arm. It's a guy. It's like if you're an A's fan, you're like, we'll take him.
That's all it is. It's an arm.
Yeah.
Look, he's 31. We need to get some bullpen innings. He's going to be, front of the bullpen like the 5th, 6th inning. We're not looking 7th, 8th, or 9th. We need somebody when our starters falter, to be able to pick up that 4th, 5th, 6th innings.
And even though it's fairly, I don't know, meaningless, that's a little bit overstated. Hey, the Pirates are doing something. Because look, they're not going to win the Central. They're 11.5 back. But they're a game back in the National League for the for the wild card. Cubs, Phillies, Diamondbacks. And the Pirates will host the Cubs all weekend long. Today, the Cubs are throwing Matthew Boyd, and Jared Jones is going for the Pirates.
Yeah, I need Jared Jones to keep it going. He's a guy I keep talking about. Really good arm, young pitcher, got hurt, missed all of last year, first part of this year. So far, he's been back really wobbly early on, but he's pitched good as of late in his last 3 outings. He's 1-0, 15 innings. His whip is 0.53. No homers, given up 23 Ks during that stretch. But for the season, his ERA is still a little over 4. Boyd going for the Cubs. The Cubs win when he takes them out. He's 6-1. His ERA is a little over 4, but he's 3-0 in his last 3. I think they've won like his last 5 or last 6 starts, something like that. Good matchup. Pirates need to show they belong and they can compete. Cubs are the number 1 wild card team in that National League. I don't think either team's going to catch the Brewers. But this is one of those for that wild card battle. The Pirates they're at home. If they can find a way to win 2 out of 3, show the Cubs that they can compete, that would be great, because the Pirates need a winning streak going into this trade deadline, as we've talked about, so they can be buyers versus the every year sellers.
Here's another series where tomorrow's the pitching day. The Cubs will throw tomorrow Imanaga against Paul Skeens. Then there's this guy named Tariq Skubal, who said his preference is to finish the season with the Tigers and compete for the World Series. He said yesterday, we have a chance to win the World Series. I've said that since spring training. That's never changed. I've never been more motivated to try and win a World Series for this city, end quote. Tigers have until next month, a week from Monday, August 3rd, to decide whether to keep Skubal, who can become a free agent after the World Series, or deal the 2-time Cy Young winner in a blockbuster trade. He's 6-5, 2.83. Who cares? He's Tariq Skubal. And that brings us to the Tigers, who are 6 games back of the White Sox in the American League Central. They're 4 out for the wild card, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish teams they have to go through. And we've all been talking the same thing. When do you trade them? When don't you? When do you become a buyer? When do you become a seller? What about the fans? How are they going to feel? So the Tigers will begin tonight in Detroit, and there he is. Tariq Skubal will throw against the miserable, and this is what we were talking about yesterday, Tigers got a chance to win 2 or 3 this weekend and really feel like, look at us. The Royals are throwing Noah Cameron.
Royals now pitching change. They're
Oh,
throwing somebody called Way. I think this is his first start of the season. I do know
okay.
that. But I can't tell you anything about him. I don't know if this is his major league debut and they're taking the A's standpoint of, look, we're terrible. Let's bring up our arms. Let's check it out. Or if he's been up and down for them a little bit, maybe in relief, because I don't recall him having started any time lately. But this KC team's bad. Bobby Witt is still out. Not a whole lot of bright spot there. They're playing like 330, 340, 350 baseball on the road. So it's a bad team that's really bad on the road. And Scooble, I was a little irritated in seeing what he said that, oh, no, I want to remain with the team. You should have thought about that before you said, I'm going to become a free agent. Maybe you should have entertained, if you want to stay there, of signing a contract with the Tigers. You put them in this spot. So you just want, hey, look, I'm going to leave the Tigers and they can't do anything to keep me. And oh, by the way, I also really want them to not be able to trade me for anything of value and leave them holding the bill at the end of the day without having even received any food for my dinner. I didn't like that comment from Scooble, but this is a really heavy favored Tigers team. Very good on, at home. They're like a 250, 260 favorite in this game. They really need to make a statement and continue the run into the wild card and or win the division.
So you nailed it on this Beck Way guy who is starting for the Royals. He's a relief pitcher. He's thrown 22 innings all this year. Now they're in Detroit. So if you look at Beck Way's away, like on the road record, he has a 6.10 ERA, a whip of 1.74. But is he just throwing an inning? Is he just the opener? I don't know. But that's what they're.
I gotta believe if he's thrown 23 innings for the season, everything he's done is in relief. He's coming out for 1 inning. Maybe he gets a short inning and gets a shot at the second inning. But this is the opener, and they're going to move forward from there. Maybe Noah Cameron. Maybe Cameron is the bulk guy coming in after Way gets out of the first.
Oh. Maybe that's it. The Brewers, who are one of the best clubs in baseball, and they are buyers, although, Steve, you always worry about how far will they go as a team. According to Adam McCalvey of MLB.com, the front office is going to be more aggressive than in recent years, and they have checked in on some big targets. Even though the team doesn't usually spend big on free agent, their success is usually contingent on them producing big leaders from their farm system, but now, according to multiple reports, is the time the Brewers are ready to break that pattern. Despite the club's recent success, they have often looked outmatched in the playoffs, as we talk about all the time, and they just lost Brandon Woodruff to season-ending shoulder surgery, blowing a big hole in their rotation. Baseball America recently ranked the Brewers as the best farm system in the majors, with a list of highlighted players a dozen people long. So similar to the Mariners, hey, we got some prospects, we got some talent, and given that depth, the Brewers feel they could make some notable subtractions while still being in good shape in their position player group, and they have called and they have asked about Tariq Skubal. They think it's echoes of the CC Sabathia trade back in 2008. While that club failed in the National League Division Series, Sabathia was so dominant, he still thought of fondly, or the deal is thought of fondly, a 1.65 ERA and 17 starts for Milwaukee after the trade. And he was the reigning Cy Young winner with an impending free agent deal at the time. So there's a lot of comparisons. Skubal and Miz going into postseason. That I think you and I have talked about this, and every time you say the Brewers won't do it, now they're saying, well, maybe we will. No.
Well, what are they going to give up? I mean, they have one of the top prospects, a kid named Made, at shortstop out in the game. Another one of these great young shortstops sitting there as the top prospect with the Brewers. Are they going to go that far and move him? He should be pretty much untouchable for the Brewers.
And you didn't bring up best farm. They've got the best farm system.
Right. So are you giving up the top? Are you going to give up 2, 3, 5, or are you going to give up, 5, 9, and 14? So curious to see what that is. And I'm
What
also
was
curious on the CC Sabathia. They're going to throw him every 3 days like they did with Sabathia, who got like 17
mm,
starts, I swear, in 30 days. It was something like, it was insane. They wrote him, they fizzled out. And I think that was part of, I think Sabathia loved it because, hey, look, we're going to give you the ball every other day and you're going to lead us. But I think it also led to that, man, you pitched me way too much. You just sat there and you did it and you moved on. Yankees, big money. But the Brewers have to do something in the rotation. They can't keep throwing Sprout out there. They're throwing Drohan out there. Today, who's 3-3, his ERA is sitting at about 4. They need help after the top end of that rotation, especially with Woodruff going out. I think they have to go do something. I just don't think Skubal falls into the category. I think you're looking more at the Joe Ryan, maybe. You're looking more at, who knows, the Red Sox might move on from Sonny Gray, might be a Robbie Ray from the Giants. I think that's more of the starting pitcher the Brewers are looking to acquire.
all right. Well, since you also brought up other pitching, they have also made it clear they're looking at Mason Miller, who would obviously be a huge boost to anyone. Unbelievable 0.86 ERA, 50% strikeout rate, and he's not a rental. I mean, you get Miller, he's controlled for 3 whole seasons after this one, and there's no denying he's the best closer in the business. And they've got the best farm system. Throw some prospects.
And I'm curious to see what the Padres do. And if you're going to move Mason, look, they may get Mead from them, the top prospect at a shortstop. They moved on, from Leo DeVries, and maybe they bring him back and it works out. I'm curious to see though, because I keep saying it. I think AJ Preller is going to attach Xander Bogaerts. And look, if you want Mason Miller, you have to take Bogaerts' contract off of us. But if he gets a big enough package like Made and 2 more top prospects for Mason Miller, I can see him breaking that package apart to a team that's loaded in that minor league system. But I cannot see them trading Mason Miller without getting a monster haul back in prospects, not major league ready players, but top MLB prospects without attaching Bogarts. And if I'm the Padres and I get the prospects, I still got to figure out what I'm doing with 7 more years of Xander Bogarts, who can't play. And even if you attach him and you send him to Milwaukee, you got, and Made doesn't go. Well, Made's going to be the shortstop. They got Bryce Trang at second base. You're paying Xander Bogaerts 7 years to do what? Sit on your bench? You just cut him and throw that money out the window? I don't see that happening either.
By the way, Jesus Made is mentioned by name as one of the players that the Brewers might be willing to part with in the right scenario. So that leaves the Brewers with a 7-game lead in the National League Central. They'd have to melt down like no others to not pull that off. And boy, this weekend could be a big part of that. They're hosting the Rockies, for God's sakes. It all begins today with what? Tamayuki Sugano is throwing for Colorado against Shane Drohan.
Yeah, this was one of those. The Brewers, hey,
Yeah.
maybe they can gain a couple of more games, put some more wins in there. They're playing the Rockies. Rockies played the Dodgers tough, but they're just not a very good team. Sugano's one of the names. I expect him to get moved here. He's sitting at 9-4, but his ERA is almost 5 for the season, so he's got a really nice record. But think about it, 9-4 with the Rockies, who play like 300 baseball. That is impressive. He's 2-0 over his last 3 outings, but his ERA in those games is almost 6. So it's his record is there. He's got a decent arm. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's one of the players I do expect, because everyone's looking for starting pitching, that will get moved. Drohan, mediocre, back into the rotation. He's been getting the job done for the Brewers. He's 3-3, ERA sitting just under 4, nothing to write home with. Whip sitting right at 1.3, and they got to strengthen that rotation. And you said Made is one of the guys they're talking about trading. I think they need a shortstop a little bit more than they need a closer.
By the way, quick clarification. When Steve said the Colorado Rockies play like what 300 baseball, I mean if he meant in the 300s, he's right. They're at 394 as their wonderful non-winning percentage. By the way, the Brewers will throw Mizorowski on Sunday. The other one I wanted to mention, we mentioned earlier, Apple TV. You're gonna have a couple games today, dueling. However they're doing it. You got the Red Sox hosting Toronto, and they just couldn't resist the biggie. The Yankees are at the Phillies with Schlittler throwing against Lazardo today.
Yeah, Warren was originally going to be the starter here, but he got moved back to Sunday because he threw the other day in relief. Uh, Lazardo has been really good as of late. And yes, you can call him the all-star pitcher, Jesus Luzardo out there. He's pitched really good as of late. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's getting the job done. He's 3-0 in his last three. His ERA is 1. He's 9-4 on the season, but ERA sitting right around 3.5. And Schlittler, I mean, Cy Young candidate out of the American League. I think he's been the best pitcher in the AL all season long. Yankees need a win here. Phillies are a tough team. And hopefully the Yankees, without Judge, get a little more offense besides just Ben Rice. Let's get, Bellinger going, and let's get some of these other guys going. I think the Yankees have to make some moves at the All-Star break.
Big news of the day, as we reported off and on, LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. And we mentioned you're going to get random goofy stats and other little tidbits. Hey, happy birthday. It's 76ers head coach Nick Nurse's 59th birthday today, and they gave him LeBron as a present. Have a great weekend. We're back Monday.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting,